Learning outcome for you to understand how to communicate with team members from other disciplines and with stakeholders. One, we expect that the learner should be able to analyze practical communication issues related to multidisciplinary team working. Two, we ensure that they should be able to explain how to communicate effectively in multidisciplinary teams. 4.3, to explain how to understand and promote equal opportunities in service delivery by the multidisciplinary teams. And then 4, to explain how to engage stakeholders with multidisciplinary teams. So these are the 4 areas that need to understand and to ensure that we have been able to clearly anticipate what a learner would encounter. With the last lecture was the barriers in communication, but this is more to do with the communication skills and how we can analyze them as they come. My name is Daniel once again, and I'm your lecturer for today. Quickly would want to, let's say there what I know you were busy last week. Are you still busy today?
Yeah, I have a meeting by 2 p.m. So
Okay,
when it's
let's crack on,
close
right?
to 2 p.m., I'll mute my call.
Okay. So what did you have a recap last week? Did you go through what we did?
Yeah, I went through what was on the website. I'd not requested the videos yet. I don't think it's uploaded.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, you mean the recorded video of the lectures?
Yeah.
It's been done. Have you not seen it?
No, it's not on the model.
It's quite automatic. Oh yeah, but normally when you have a Zoom lectures, it get recorded straight away, but they've not put it on the model. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I can send you a recording of what we did last week. Oh, okay, I'll copy and send them to you when you finish the lectures. Okay.
Okay then.
Even if you don't have a model, I'll copy those ones and send to you. Okay.
Okay,
So like I said, we're looking to understand how to communicate with team members from other disciplines and with stakeholders. Yeah. And with stakeholders.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm here, I've not left you. Okay, so practical communication issues, we are going to look at cultural differences, and a bit of attitude and lack of motivation, listening skills, written communication, quality of appropriate communication tools, and oversharing. So these are things that we're going to look into, and that's what we expect. Now, to give a bit more understanding to practical communication issues related to multidisciplinary team working. It is quite natural for patients to feel apprehensive about their health and well-being, yet a survey in 2016 found that only 38% of adult inpatients would have worries or fears could definitely find someone in hospital to talk about them. And they quoted Care Quality Commission. Why? Because Care Quality Commission seeks to throw more light on person-centered care. He said there are numerous barriers to effective communication, including which we know. I wouldn't want to waste much time on the time constraints, environmental issues, pain and fatigue, embarrassment and anxiety, use of jargon, use values and beliefs, information overload, data protection issues, record keeping may be different in different. Why do you think jargon could be a communication barrier?
Well, using of language, technical terms or languages that people are not familiar with in other areas or departments you're working with or professionals you're working with.
Good, good. So those jargons, other people may not be familiar with, isn't it? You may not
Yeah.
used to this jargons that you'll be using and all that. So it may create problem, cultural differences and all that. Okay, so it is a bit of a problem and embarrassment and anxiety because people may feel a bit shy and so on over panicking, therefore they might not be able to communicate. Uh, so those are things that's equally very important and we take notice of that. And data protection issues, that's true. Values and belief, that's true. People have certain values, hence why they would not even open up to discuss certain things. These are key things that we have to take notice of. When people work in multidisciplinary team, they have different but complementary skills and experience that contribute to overall effort. However, they might not share some communication preferences and styles. Without good communication, confusion and misunderstanding can diminish the team's ability to achieve its goals. This is why it is important to develop goals and strategies to improve communication in the form of the following. Collaboration. We've had insights, we've had several explanations on collaboration. So I said I wouldn't want to waste much time. What do you think?
Collaboration will be different professionals working together, like the renal department working together with an elderly, the social workers, or nurses working with the carers and social workers, you know, things like that. Or therapists visiting the care homes to help with the elderly residents, things like that, collaboration.
Amazing, amazing. What then will be some of the challenges if you find yourself in a collaborative team? What may be the challenges?
Mm, challenges could
Don't you
be,
think the same thing that patients feel in collaboration as professionals will feel the same thing because the differences are challenges. You may have the same problem where people may not understand your accent very well. Or, you know what I mean?
yeah, that's true.
You may have the same problem where people are used to using jargons that you don't even understand. For
Yeah,
instance, we have a Macunian accent. Those who are very strong Macunian accent, you may not really understand what it means. Okay, there may be certain jargons that they may use, even though probably you've lived in the UK for years, but you don't understand the jargons and so on. So challenges within even in collaborative as professional, you may still have challenges that any other human being may feel, and most times those who may feel a bit superior to others, in fact, you may even have racism even in collaboration, won't we?
yes, true.
Yes, you can still have racism.
Because
Of
people could become uncomfortable with other
exactly,
ethnicities.
exactly. And some beliefs, cultural ends, beliefs. A Muslim or person may have certain belief, probably why. For instance, when an African is maybe the head of the team, and another person who is a
No,
non-African, they before a bit sound
there is a
uncomfortable.
Muslim home which we serve that the carers have to take off their shoe to reach the elderly lady where she is in the house because you can't put on your shoes in within the house. So carers that are posted there have to be told this, and if you're not ready to take off your shoe, you cannot go there to work.
See,
So
so
that's like,
exactly. So in effect, this will lead to conflict then. You know,
yeah.
yes, within the team. And so it is advised that to avoid some of these things, problem team leaders should be encouraged all participants to remember the importance of good communication and take the extra time to choose their words carefully. Consider different viewpoints and remain calm even during stressful work periods. Very, very important. All of us, we go through stress one way or the other, whether we like it or not, unless you are not in UK. You understand? But in your stressful moments, I think you have to remain calm. Where you are stressed, you even don't want to talk at all. Because if you know if you're stressed and you talk and you're going to talk on top of your voice, then so you find a way to remanage yourself to be calm so you don't become a hazard to the group, So those are things you have to look into. Then useful skills. Team members can develop skills in more effective communication by participating in team building activities and role-playing exercises. Of course, it's all about engagement. For example, workshops that help team members learn how to become more assertive. The word assertive, I hope you understand it, do you?
Speaking without being aggressive.
Good, good. Speaking with their mouth. But sometimes people may misconstrue an assertive to be arrogance. You know that?
Yes, because you have to speak clear and firm.
So the word is firm. Because you are firm, people may think you are rude, isn't it?
Yes.
And they don't like such people in the workplace, don't we?
Yes.
People are always speaking their mind as it is. We always don't like that. Oh, this lady, who does he think she is? But she's just doing their job. She's just being firm. And we don't like firm and tough people. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't like, so especially in African culture, we don't like firm people. People who are straight and all. But it's a good quality. The word is assertive. Anytime they're looking for a team leader, why are they always looking for an assertive person? Because they need someone who they
You get
feel
proper accountability of.
exactly. Somebody who can deal with people, who can manage the people. They don't need somebody who is dull, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So anytime they're choosing a leader in a workplace or even managerial role, they want to because you are going to manage quite a number of people. You should be able to make firm decisions. You should be very tough, not rude, but you should be very tough in the decision making. And so they need a assertive person. So being firm, being tough, but not being rude. The word assertive. Yeah. So, for example, workshops that help team members learn how to be assertive, learn more carefully, and negotiate will help improve overall team productivity. Assertiveness means speaking out without not being aggressive. Without not being aggressive. But many times it looks like they see people to be aggressive when they are being assertive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it is a tone. Am I right? It is the
Yeah.
tone. So you can be assertive and have a very nice way of dealing with people, but you are still assertive. Very, very important. Your subordinate, because once your subordinate see you to be arrogant and rude, then you're going to have a problem. Then where lies the teamwork then? You understand?
Yeah.
Then you cannot have the teamwork and you need them and they need you. Okay. So active listening involves paraphrasing what a person hears to demonstrate understanding, while good negotiation skills enable a person to reach out, compromise in a different situation. Just 1 minute. Vanessa is not on it and I don't know why. Let me check why. Vanessa. Okay. So while good negotiating skills enable a person to reach a compromise in a difficult situation. On a multidisciplinary team, these contribute to effective team performance. Okay. Effective team performance. So team building exercise because multiple players participate on a multidisciplinary team. Different backgrounds and levels of expertise might inhibit team communication. To build a cohesive team, a project manager should incorporate team building exercises into every team meeting. These exercises might include icebreakers that enable people to get to know each other better. Very important. Out of shyness and anxiety, people may not communicate to others. Maybe having a beautiful lady like Placidia and you feel shy, and so people cannot open up. It can create communication barriers, isn't it? Or games that build skills in resolving conflict providing feedback, and building trust. This facilitates the flow of information. Let's say, are you there? Hello? Hello? Okay. For example, organize a game to identify different communication purposes, such as information, collecting information, persuading, entertaining, or instructing. To play, divide and enlarge group into smaller teams and ask a person from each team to demonstrate the first purpose. Choose a judge to decide which performance was better. Continue with the different purposes until everyone has a chance to perform. At the end, calculate the results. The team with the higher score wins. That's it. Are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
It
Because I
said
cannot.
disconnected
I
and I
can't.
reconnected.
Yes. Okay. Just 1 minute. Did you join with the link I sent you?
Yes, I did on WhatsApp.
I don't know why some people are struggling to join. So that's fine. Let's proceed.
No,
Team working and
you need
culture.
to launch it and do join with your browser. I had that problem before.
What advice again? Say it again.
So when you try to join, it to say launch, you launch, then you go to the bottom and say join with browser instead of the download. So then it will connect
Which browser?
as if they are using their computer.
Uh-huh. So each MDT member has clearly defined roles and responsibilities. That we all know. What are some of the team behavior or etiquette, including mutual respect, very important, trust between team members, an equal voice for all members, different opinions valued, very important. You have to value everybody, don't interject people. They will feel you are becoming rude. Then the assertiveness is going beyond arrogance, isn't it? Or being bullied. You're no more assertive. You are becoming the bully. you know, you're not being assertive because you don't even allow your juniors to even express themselves. And it won't work out. It won't work out. Not in this foreign land where it's so much human rights and all that. Then we have resolution of conflict between team members. Very important. You should be able to always offer yourself resolution formalities in resolving conflict among that does not need to escalate. You have to solve them within and make sure you are very fair as much as possible, regardless the color or race. Encouragement of constructive discussion and debate, very important. Or constructive criticisms, very, very fair, very, very objective criticism. One that would help the person to improve, not one that would discourage the person. Absence of personal agendas, very important. You don't want to have personal agenda with people, personal thing. No, it's an overall objective for the whole group. Ability to request and provide clarification of anything unclear. Very, very important. If you are a bossy or you're a bully, then people cannot even come to you to ask of clearer explanation so they can do better things and understand the job that they find themselves. So you have to provide clarification to anything that is unclear. Offer yourself to make sure that they can come to you and ask of clarity. MDT members play a role in sharing learning and best practice of with peers. Yes, you have to always make sure that you have a good listing with your peers without no problem at all. So time constraints. Time or lack of it creates a significant barrier to communication for nurses. Norwegia et al. 2016. Yes, we can read about it. And time constraint. We all know time is crucial in everything that we do. So lack of time creates problems, communication for nurses. Nurses will have to do a lot of things within a short possible time. Sometimes you have to put drips on a person, you have to give medication, you have to do that, you have to fill the forms and all that. So you need to be somebody with time abiding. Very important. Hurried communication is never as effective as leisurely interaction. Yet in in pressured workplaces, nurses face with competing demands may neglect the quality of communication. Yes, sometimes it's true. Well, there's so much demand on you as a nurse or as a carer, and it might affect your communication skills. You may not have the quality. In fact, that's what we call stress. You may even communicate overboard. And these are things that we clearly said that when you are more stressed, you have to be very calm. It is important to remember that communication does not need to be time consuming. A smile, hello, or some small talk about the weather may surface. Very important. It does not need to be time consuming, but just a simple hello, hi. These are all signs of communication that you might not see how important it may be, but they help a lot, to initiate something that allows somebody to also come to open up to you with their problems, And then lastly, there's pressuring views to tell individual patients, taking the time to get to know them can prepare the ground for difficult conversation that may need to take place in the future. Okay. So taking time to know. So there is no pressing views to tell individual patients, taking the time to talk to them. Yes, introduce yourself to them. The newness, I'm the new carer. My name is this. Any problem? That gives a sign of assurance for people to open up to you. Let's look at environmental factors. You may be so familiar with surrounding that you no longer notice the environmental factors that can create communication difficulties. Background noise in a busy clinic can affect patients' ability to hear, and some may try to disguise it by nodding and appearing to hear. So these are physical communication barriers that we're talking about. If you think your patient has hearing problems, reduce the background noise, find a quiet corner, or step into a quiet side room or office. Check whether your patient uses physical aids, of course, such as hearing aids or spectacles, and that these are in working order. Yes. So once you have seen that your patient or your client is having some bit of struggle to hear you, then you need to look at what might be possible. Are they people on hearing aids or physical aids? You need to find out. And if they are, then you could look into if the hearing aids have not fallen down or is not rightly positioned. And if not, then you look at other formalities of dealing with the situation. So these are environmental. It may be a noise problem, or it may be a hearing aid problem, or any other problems. Noise and other distractions can impede communication with patients with dementia and other cognitive impairments who find concentration challenging. Noise and other distractions can impede communication with patient dementia. So those who have dementia and other deformity may have or cognitive impairments will find concentration challenges. Okay, then we have pain and relief. We often need to gain important information from patients when they are acutely ill and distressed, and symptoms such as pain can reduce concentration. If you urgently need to gather information, it is important to acknowledge pain and difficulty and discomfort. I know that is painful, but it's important we discuss it. Yeah, so pains and may cause a person not to communicate very well, and so it is important that you identify some of these problems, some of this, and address it. Patients may also be tired from a sleepless night, drowsy after an anesthetic, or experiencing the side effects of medicine. Very important as well. Communicating with someone who is not fully alert is difficult. So it is important to prioritize the information you need. Assess whether it is necessary to speak to the patient, and ask yourself. Communicating with someone who is not fully alert is difficult. So it is important you prioritize the information you need and assess whether it is necessary to speak to the patient, and ask yourself, is this the best time to converse? Can it manage to wait? Or can I give part of the message now and the rest later? So this is a real assessment that you need to do. You need to speak to a patient who is tired from sleepless night, drowsy after an operation, surgery, and all that. You need to ensure if it's the right time to speak to them. and then ensure that whether you can give some of the information and do that later, or is the best time to commit. So these are things that we have to look into. Embarrassment and anxiety. Embarrassment and anxiety. So, would you feel comfortable undressing in front of a complete stranger now, or talking about sex, difficulties, family circumstances, addictions, or bowel problems? No. Patients and health professionals' embarrassment can result in awkward encounters that may hamper effective communication. However, anticipating potential embarrassment, minimizing it, and using straightforward or open communication can ease difficult conversations. For example, in a clinic, a patient may need to remove some clothes for an examination. It is important to be direct and specific. Do not say, please undress, as patient may not know what to remove. Give specific instructions. Please remove your trousers and panties. Please keep your skirt on. Clear directions can ease stress and embarrassment when delivered with matter-of-fact confidence. Placide, are you there? Placide, are you there? Okay, let me proceed. Jargons.
I am.
Okay, what is your take on this particular one? The embarrassment and all that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it of course clear. If you don't understand clear instructions, clients can become embarrassed, and you won't get them cooperative anymore. They'll just be uncomfortable throughout the procedure,
Okay.
which could increase the time that you probably need to use. Maybe you're supposed to just spend 15 minutes in personal care, but because now they're embarrassed, they'll be refusing consent and all that,
Mhm. I see.
That.
I see. Yeah, I see. What about the specificness of your communication? Because I mean, very crucial statement was if you tell someone undress, the patient will feel very awkward. He cannot undress or herself to you as a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or in the care home, if you want to undress a client, you have to be clear about what you're doing
Exactly.
so that they don't feel like, wow, why would you just do that,
Exactly. Exactly. So you have to be very specific.
Yeah.
Can you use your browsers? Is that not
Yeah.
the case? Or that's so you have to be a bit more specific.
Yeah, like even if you want to check if they are wet, you have to tell them, I want to check if your pad
You
is
are
wet.
yes.
Not that you just go there, you lift the address, and
Exactly.
when they're like, what are you doing? And you say, I'm checking
Yeah.
if you're wet.
No, it doesn't make sense. And at times you may even give benefit that you may ask if they want to do it themselves, isn't it?
Yes, if they have capacity.
Yes.
Because
You
if
may
they don't have
ask.
capacity, then they would start feeling bad that, oh, I can't do it myself.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's look at jargons. Jargons can be an important communication aid between professionals in the same field. It is important to avoid using technical jargons and clinical acronyms with patients. Even though that they may not get understand, they may not ask you for a plain English translation. It is easy to slip into jargons without realizing it. So make a conscious effort to avoid it. Okay?
Yeah.
Make a conscious to avoid it. So you say, even though they may not understand, they may not ask you for a plain English translation. That's another problem. They may not.
Yeah, they
So
won't
that's
ask
the
you,
issue.
then they'll go to the next person and say, I don't even understand what that nurse said.
I know. Hello, that's the problem. A report on health literacy from the Royal College of General Practitioners 2014 cited the example of a patient who took the description of a positive cancer diagnosis to be good news when the reverse was the case. If you have to use jargon, explain what it means. Whenever possible, keep medical terms as simple as possible. For example, kidney rather than renal and heart, not cardiac. You understand? Not cardiac. The cardiac arrest could be it's broader. It is broader. Cardiac arrest could be the heart, could be the so you have to be more specific in what you say. And when it comes to medical, you don't use jargons when it comes to medical terms. Try to use the exact words in plain language. Okay. Everyone makes assumptions based on their social or cultural beliefs, values, traditions, biases, and prejudices. A patient might genuinely believe that female staff might be genius, that a man cannot be a midwife. Be alert to patients' assumptions that could lead to misinterpretation, reinterpretation, or even them ignoring what you are telling them. Think about how you can address such situations. For example, explain your role at the onset. Hello, I'm your blah blah blah. The next practitioner will be examining you today. Very, very important. Because patients could assume, because most midwives are women, they may not assume that you are a nurse. So what might solve the problem is from onset of your shift, you introduce yourself to the patients and all that. Okay. It is important to be aware of your own assumptions, prejudices, and values, and reflect on whether they could affect your communication with patients. A nurse might assume that a patient in a same-sex relationship will have children, will not have children, that an Asian patient will not speak good English, or that someone with a learning disability or an older person will not have to be in an active sexual relationship. Incorrect assumptions may cause offense. Enquiries such as asking patients someone's critical name may be culturally ineffective or non-Christians. Very, very important. Okay, very, very important. So just 1 minute. Placidia, I hope, are we on the same level?
Yes.
So what's your take on this particular one as well?
That we should avoid assumptions and try to get more information from the user. Like you can ask questions instead of just assuming and saying things that are inappropriate.
Okay. All right. 1 minute. So
like instead of asking children, you could ask.
Well, let's say you've joined. Okay. Placidia, can you say it again?
Oh, okay, sorry.
No,
Placidia.
instead of assuming that maybe someone do not have like maybe a nurse comes into a home and she's been told that nobody has visited the client, instead of saying assuming that maybe the person doesn't have any children, that's the reason, you can just ask, do you have any family member that you feel we can contact to visit you? And she might say, well, my children, and then okay, she's got children as part of our loved ones. Then you can talk about contacting the children, instead of just assuming like, oh, is there any reason why your children are not visiting?
Okay. Okay.
The person will just be like, I mean, if it's a painful thing for the resident, she'll be heartbroken. She wouldn't even listen to anything you're there for anymore.
Yes, that's assumption, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fine. Vanessa, you just joined, isn't it? Hello?
Hello, I beg your pardon.
You've just joined, right?
No, I joined a while. I've been listening in. I've just been quiet, but I joined a while ago.
Okay, okay. I didn't take notice then. I didn't take notice.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on what we're talking about, where we are now, on the values, beliefs, and assumptions? Vanessa, are you there?
Oh, me, I had a. Can you hear me?
We
I
can
had
hear
a
you.
different view on this one, on values, beliefs, and assumptions. I feel like, for example, that the last part whereby if someone is making inquiries, okay, I think it's also same as assumption, but I feel like if someone is going to ask a patient a specific questions, they would rather leave their questions open instead of closing their question to avoid or hurtful open. Placidia said, yeah, you should leave the questions open without
Vanessa, okay. Let's proceed. When you come back, the line is a bit weak.
specify and
Okay.
as know. But in the process of trying to know, we should keep some questions open and leave the rest to the patient to give us more information. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Well said. So let's move on. Let's move on to the other part, and that's information overload. What happens when you have enormous information sharing overload? What happens? So we struggle to absorb lots of facts in one go. And when we are bombarded with statistics, information, and options, it is easy to blank them out. It is particularly so for patients who are upset, distressed, anxious, tired, in shock, or in pain. If you need to provide a lot of information, assess how the patient is feeling and stick to the pertinent issues. So yes, we feel that when you are bombarding or you are throwing out so many information to the patients, um, they will get more stressed and tired. So you have to make sure how you can assimilate your information given out. You have to make sure that you give information at in space or in intervals, no rather than bombarding them so many things. Medication today, do that in the shortest possible time. Can you have medication? And then can you change this for me? Can you? Oh, I'm going to put your drips on. You have to clothe yourself. You have to go to the toilet. We need a stool of you. So it's one question, one in a lot of information is coming to make them get distressed and tired, and it won't help you in your communication skills as a nurse or as a social worker. Okay. Then says a read an article or model communication skills to overcoming barrier to effective communication. We have done that already in lesson 4. So we don't need to. And then say explain how to effectively how to communicate effectively in multidisciplinary team. Effective communication in multidisciplinary team. It says working in a multidisciplinary team can be experienced as challenging and or rewarding for a number of reasons. Team policies. Effective communication in a multidisciplinary team begin in the process of team formation and involves agreeing to a team philosophy. Very important. It's like signing a corporate agreement, a way of working that is embodied in a set of shared values. These this agreed philosophy and set of values should be documented as part of the operational policies of the team. The everyday working and functioning of the team should also be documented. So this should be clear. The policy should be clear. Abaku 1 to say write the vision plainly that they may see it and run with it. So it should be clear and transparent and documented for all to see so that all can abide by it. Okay. These policies and procedures form part of the overall operational policy of each multidisciplinary team. Not only is this policy a written record of agreed protocols, it is essential for the training and induction of new team members. Okay, so it says, in as much as you should have team policy, that should become the formation of the reasons why the team was formed and the full philosophy. Those should be clearly written so that people can adhere to it, sign to it, and subscribe and abide by it. Okay. Not only is this policy a written record of agreed protocol, it is also essential for the training and induction of new team members. Once you have laid down policies and principles and agreements, it serves as a guide for new persons who have enrolled in the organization or in the group or set of what do you call it, set of group that you find yourself in, so you can comply with what you have. Okay, that's what it means. So there are specific policies and protocols that are part of the overall operational policy of the team. This need to be developed, agreed, and put in place to deal with particular issues and situations. There are specific policies and protocols that are part of the overall operational policy of the team. This need to be developed, agreed, and put in place to deal with particular issues. And so these specific policies and protocols, they are part of the overall, but they need to be developed and agreed in place to deal with the particular issues and situation that comes about as a result of the protocols or as a result of policy that have been written down. Okay. So let's now look at consensus. This type of decision making implies that everybody must agree before a decision is made. And that all members have the right to vote or veto. Very important. Consensus is very important when it comes to team working. Where specific professionals have mandated responsibilities, this approach is not appropriate. This approach is not. So what it means that where there has been clear assignment of duties per each person is not. But where you need to allow us to vote to appoint those leaders, then the need for voting is that then consensus have to be reached. There must be a clear consent. But when people have been given roles already, then there's no consensus. So there must be consensus agreed in even sometimes who you are assigned to do certain jobs, or consensus in decision making. While a certain amount of consensual decision making may work in a well-functioning teams, this model does not work when one member of the team takes a different view to the others. So it's very important to say this decision making implies that everyone must agree before a decision is made. Everyone. So it might be the policy that everyone must agree and not two tests or not one test. Every single person must agree before you can make a decision in that group. Whereas others may say two tests would have to agree before, most especially in a church or in a constitution and NGO, there's always that clause that says that one person or two persons should be available before you can be signatory to an account. So this is what you take decision making, but where people have been mandated responsibilities, then consensus is not applicable. Okay. Leadership. In a leadership model of decision making, there is a person or a small subgroup in the team that is recognized at some level within the team as having a particular role in decision making that is different from other team members. This usually arises through the possession of power authority, or both. Tobin and Edwards 2022 stated, leadership is the process of influencing others to engage in the work behaviors necessary to reach organizational goals. So the key word is organizational goals. To do this, the leader must have understanding of the task and of group processes, and must have the skills to bring the working to be able to give care and provide diagnosis using the equipment. So key things that we've noted here as leadership style is the leader should have certain skills to be able to bring people together to achieve a common goal. Okay, working behaviors necessary to achieve a common goal. To do, the leader must have organization understanding of the task. So you cannot be a leader when you don't understand the functions and the procedures and processes of the very organization that you find yourself. So in fact, before you become a leader, you ought probably might be a subordinate before, or you might have worked in certain roles before you've been appointed BLA. So it is estimated that you should understand the task and the processes involved, and must have the skill to bring the working to be able to give care and provide diagnosis using equipment. Very, very important. That's leadership for you. And meeting organization resources and logistics. Scheduling of MDT meetings. MDT meetings take place because regularly, such as Manual of the Cancer Services. MDT meetings are held during core hours, more possible. 1 minute, please. The internet is, and then we have MDT meetings are held during core hours where possible. Core hours are defined locally and included in staff job plans, and are set up so as not to clash with related clinics that core members need to attend. Such clinics follow MDT meetings where feasible. So it says scheduling of the meetings is very important. Meetings take place regularly as set out in the Manual of Cancer Services mission. And say MDT meetings are held during core hours where possible. Core hours are defined locally and included in staff job plans, and are set up so as not to clash with related clinics that core members need to attend. Such clinics follow the MDT meetings where feasible. Okay. We have to then look at what is equality and diversity. That I'm sure many of you know.
Hello. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Where you
on the part of, what is it?
leadership?
Meeting organization resources and logistics. Is it part of, I went through this, I think days back, but okay, I failed to understand how it falls under this part of ways of communicating effectively. Okay, I failed to connect. I don't know why. I don't know how they are connected.
Oh, you mean meeting organization resources and logistics? You don't know how they are connected to
of MPT meetings, MPT, like all whatever under here.
Yes, they go. Okay, finish the question. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know how it falls under this question of explain how to communicate effectively in multidisciplinary teams. Maybe I hadn't given it a lot of time.
Okay, so I think it's relevant. It might not be the most relevant, but I think it's relevant to the topic being discussed, because we're talking about how you could be effective communicator, or how you can function well within within your MDTs. And so scheduling of meetings as well, they are all part of communication skills. Are you there, Vanessa?
Yes,
Vanessa,
I
are you there?
am.
Exactly. So scheduling of meetings, because
Yes,
scheduling of meetings, it wouldn't be a leader position per se. You would have to involve people. At times you have to delegate. At times you may have secretary of the group who may have to schedule those meetings. And therefore it requires effective communication skills. It requires how you communicate to people. And that is why I think it's relevant that this is being captured as part of the model in communication skills or in effective communication. Even in
yes.
logistics as well. Even in logistics
Yeah,
as well. Yes, it's also boils down because we are looking at the not only just effective communication, but effective communication relative to the MDTs. You get it? You understand?
yes,
Exactly. Not on its own, just effective communication, but effective communication in relation or relative to the multidisciplinary team. You understand? And
yes,
therefore, the team, we all know that the teams are formed not because they are just, but they are formed to achieve a certain role or a certain task. That is why we bring professionals together to solve those problems. So in their roles, there will be logistics, meetings will be scheduled, there's going to be a leader, there's going to be a secretary. I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
yeah, and I now get the whole picture. I think
Thank
I
you.
didn't give it time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Placidi, are
Thank
you
you.
there? Yeah.
Yes, I
So
am.
okay. Do you have any question from your side as well?
No, definitely, because if there's no effective communication, like when you're discussing with users, sometimes there's some information that they need the support of family members,
Okay.
and without effective communication, you can't get family members there. When the family members visit and they hear the diagnosis, they're like, "Really? Why are we not informed?" And then the whole thing has to start all over again. So and they might not even be pleased with the service, So communication is really important. Everybody needs to be updated. All professionals needs to be involved all the time. Hence
Placidi,
the
but I don't think you understood the question from Vanessa.
okay.
Why I've answered there. Vanessa was saying that she didn't see the need why we may have meeting organization resources and logistics under effective communication. That was his question. Why would you have logistics mentioned under the whole?
Yeah, but that's logistics, because when we're having, for example, when we're having meeting, when we want to hold the meeting, the logistics is getting everybody involved.
That's it.
To the place, like family members, the professionals, the social workers, everything. That's logistics.
Vanessa, have you gotten more information to it as well?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And then to add to it, here in the UK, Vanessa, if you are a carer, especially in supported living setup, your job role is not only limited to just caring for the patients, placidia, which you agree with me, but sometimes their medications, their logistics. I don't know if you know where I'm coming from. You try to call the GP. I don't know if you arrange those things. I don't know, Vanessa. I don't know if you are placidia. You agree with what I'm saying.
Even when you're giving out control drugs, you have to get a witness,
Exactly.
So that's logistic, because you need to tell at the beginning of the shift, when you're doing handover, you need to tell someone, I'm going to have to do control drugs at 2 a.m. or at 2 p.m.
So
Who is going to
sign.
next, and they can plan their rota to that.
Yeah. Okay. So I was telling Vanessa that with all that you said, which is true, but the topic itself is not effective communication on its own, but it is relative to the MDT. You understand? Relative to
Yeah.
so once it's related to MDT, Then it talks about groups. So therefore, in groups and the groups are formed, we only form the MDT to solve an issue. That's why you're bringing professionals together. So once there's professional, there'll be logistics, there'll be meetings, there'll be scheduling. Meetings involve logistics, time, all these things, So that is why effective communication is needed in those roles. So you might be the leader, you might be the secretary in the team, you might be the one ensuring that everybody gets to the meeting on time, or it might be a Zoom meeting that you have to reschedule them. The logistics involved in all that. You have the venue sometimes, you have to meet somewhere. So all these things involved.
Sorry, I'm going to mute. My meeting is starting, so I'll just listen in.
That's fine. Okay. So that is it. So let's proceed on to equality and diversity. We all know about that. I wouldn't want to waste much time on equality and diversity. But what equality means, seeing everyone equal. Diversity means accepting everybody's differences. That's the difference. Why are equality opportunities important? Why are they important? It is essential that potential and existing employees and those who use our services are treated equitably and fairly, and that the NHS continues to build a diverse quality workforce that reflects the community we serve in. It is important that services and facilities are accessible, adequate, and appropriate to the needs of all users. Equality in service delivery will be developed by consulting with different community groups and voluntary organizations to determine the needs of different local services. I wouldn't want to waste much time on this, Vanessa, because I'm sure at this level we all know much about equality and diversity. Okay, Vanessa, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Yes, we know. I think I have many questions. You pardon me. Okay, I think maybe first go through, then after at the end I'll ask questions. Maybe if you go through, I may pick some.
Okay, so let me go through. So it says it is important that service and facilities are accessible, adequate, and appropriate to the needs of all users. Equality in service delivery will be developed by consulting with different community groups and voluntary organizations to determine the needs of the different local services users, ensuring that buildings, facilities, and services are accessible to people with disabilities, reflecting positive images in trust publications of diverse range of people living in the local community we serve, ensuring that all contractors, service providers, and other workers not directly employed by the trust are aware of and comply with the trust equal opportunities policy. Very important. Dealing with complaints promptly through the trust complaints procedure. Continuing to monitor patient data, service used to ensure that no unlawful discrimination is taking place in terms of service delivery. Developing an action plan using equality and equality delivery system to and workforce race equality standard to formulate equal opportunity to targets and initiative to improve service delivery. Okay, so then we have to go to Equality Act 2010. This you should very okay with that. So this are things you did in level 3, the Equality Act. Okay, so it all talks about the equality, how to treat people and all that. It has 7 characteristics of areas that you have to look: race, gender. These are key things. So the act includes new public sector equality duty, bringing the 3 separate duties on public authorities relating to disability, gender, and race together in a single duty, and extending it to cover age, gender identity, gender expression, pregnancy and maternity, religion and belief, and sexual orientation. And this human right going on, LGBT and all that. So a lot going on when it comes to equality and diversity. The general duty set out in Act requires public bodies and those who carry out public functions to have due regard for the need to eliminate unlawful discrimination, harassment, and victimization, to advance equality of public of opportunity, and to foster good relations between people who share a protected characteristic and those who do not. Okay, this new equality duty came into force on 5th April 2011. This is a long while policy and nothing has changed. So useful website that we can go through is the agenda for change terms and conditions, NHS England, NHS Equality Diversity Council, which Equality Act 2010, ACA's advisory booklet, that is Equality and Human Rights Commission, hate crime, true vision, on all that. These are things that we could tap into and learn more about that. Okay, do you have any question at this stage, Vanessa? If not, I'll crack on. Explain how to engage stakeholders with multidisciplinary teams. Stakeholders are engaged with multidisciplinary teams in different ways and areas such as policy making, meeting workshops, finance, care planning, logistics, evaluation of outcomes. So in this diagram, we have to look at 5 different partnership, participation, consultation, push communications, and pull communication. While we say in partnership, there's high influence and there's high interest. And this is just to show how relationship between stakeholders can influence power and how it can encourage stakeholder engagement. And in participation, there's high influence and low interest. If you're a stakeholder, you have high interest and high influence in the company. If you are just participation, you only have high influence, but you have low interest. So you have influence, but you have low interest. Where in consultation, you have low influence, but you have high interest because you are consulting. And in push communication, you have low influence and you have low interest as well. Okay. So there is organization employee support for MDT meetings and MDT membership demonstrated to one. So their membership like groups, like you can be part of a union membership or a body membership or a group membership and all that. These are all signs of participation. You have high interest in it. So one, recognizing that the MDTs are accepted model by which to deliver safe and high quality cancer care. Adequate funding and resources in terms of people, time, equipment, and facilities for MDT meetings to operate effectively. Trusts consider their MDT's annual assessment and act on issues of concern. 4. Data collection, analysis, and audit of outcomes. 5. Data collection resources, that is the ability to capture relevant information in a timely manner, etc., is available to the MDT. 6. Key information that directly affects treatment decisions, age, staging, performance status, and comorbidity is collected by the MDT. It means the group. All these functions are things that you have to do. Then we have the last one, mandated national database are populated prior to our or doing MDT meetings where possible and appropriate. If this is not possible, this takes place shortly after the meetings. Okay, so he's saying that once a group is formed, a group may be formed to do different functions. It may be to collect data for the national data, it may be different research organization. So groups may be formed for different reasons. For this matter, they have to ensure that they are doing things in an organized way that supports, the meetings that they do, support the meeting and the membership demonstrate true. So they should recognize that the MDTs are accepted model by which to deliver safe and high quality cancer. So you must ensure that the policies stipulated in your group or your MDT, you ensure that you follow those processes. Adequate funding resources in terms of people, time, equipment, and facility. In other words, invest in the membership of the training that is needed to ensure that the groups first consider their MDTs as annual assessment and act on issues of concern. So hospitals and trusts, they consider their MDTs annual assessment. It means that they are survey and research, they consider that as very important, act on the concern that has been raised. Okay, data collection resources and all that. So these are things that are very important. And it says that the trust.
Sorry to cut you short.
Go ahead.
But here where we talk about there is organizational support for MDT meetings and MDT membership.
Yeah.
In regard to this question, is the organization stroke employer looked at under stakeholders? Because if the question says explain how to engage stakeholders with multidisciplinary teams, and then when we come down here, I see that we are mostly looking at how to boost, should I say how to boost the MDTs, like for example, funding them and all that. But this is from the employer stroke organization's end. I'm not seeing how under this explanation so please help just at the beginning here where they're like stakeholders are engaged with multidisciplinary teams in different ways and areas such as policy making, meetings and workshops, finance, care, planning, logistics. Could you kindly explain to me just a little bit on each? For example, under policy making, how do we look at stakeholders being engaged with the MDT? Just a little bit. Yeah, this question was really disturbing me. So I was looking forward to this lesson. I
Okay,
really
so
need
are
help
you
here.
referring to 4.4?
Yeah, 4.4. Explain how to engage stakeholders. But then I don't know how recognition that MDTs are accepted, adequate funding, what, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how they connect to engaging stakeholders with MDTs.
Okay, so what it means that Vanessa.
Was
So
it just
hello. Hello.
yes, I can hear you.
So Vanessa, what it means is that, like I did explain to you from onset, the MDTs are not an organization. The MDTs work under organizations to start with. You understand? So the MDTs, they are formed to solve a particular problem in an organization. So for example, you are a nurse in an hospital and you belong to a certain department and you are an expert in, let's say, an expert in surgery or an expert in learning disability. Are you there? Are you there? Hello? Vanessa? Vanessa?
Hi, I'm there. I'm sorry. I'm about. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so for instance, you are a nurse and you're an expert in learning disability in an hospital, and there's a problem in huge problem in learning disability operation. So the hospital are going to choose people with certain skills. So they need a doctor who is an expert in that, a nurse who is an expert to that, social worker an expert to that, and certain people who are expert to that. Then they bring you guys together to form the MDT. So the MDT, you are not stakeholders, but the stakeholder is the hospital. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm getting you. Yes,
So
that one I know. I think
yes.
maybe you hadn't understood my question in
Okay.
regard to the organization.
I didn't understand your question then, isn't it?
Because I was asking, like, when you go to the slide after that diagram, maybe kindly move down after the pyramid diagram. No, like downwards.
Down. I should go down. Okay, just let me 1 minute. Let me go down. This one, participation. This one.
Yeah, this no, after this one. After this one.
After this one, okay. This one.
Yeah. So now here is where I was asking where the heading is. There is organizational stroke employer support for MDT meetings and MDT membership demonstrated through. So my question was, yes, we are seeing how employers and organizations support this
MDTs.
multidisciplinary,
Yes.
as we are seeing that multidisciplinary teams are not an organization, but they work under organizations.
Yes.
So this is the part, this whole explanation is where I don't see stakeholders being engaged with MDT teams according to the question asked. Do you now get what I'm trying to say?
So you are saying that the employer, who is also the stakeholder, you are saying,
Yeah, that's what I want to ask. Are we looking at the employer being a stakeholder here?
yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
Now it's more,
yes,
it's now more easier.
yes, yes, yes. You
Then
understand?
could you throw in some little explanation on the policy making, meetings and workshops, finance,
Yeah,
care planning,
yeah.
logistics,
So it's a bit
and
straightforward because the employer is seen as a stakeholder, or it could be any other. It may not even be an employer. It may even be a research company that have putting some people together to go and do research for them. You get my point? You may have even a government organization. It could even be the whole country that have putting some people that have formed a committee to look into a problem in the country. You know what I mean? So
yes,
the government become the stakeholder. You understand me? The
yes,
government. So the government is the one making sure that providing finances for them, or they may be doctors in research professionals. And the government says because there's a fire outbreak or in this, we want to form a committee to look into this fire outbreak. And so it is the government that is making funds available to this group or MDTs to be able to do their jobs. Okay.
yes,
So it is the government that is making sure that they are providing enough logistics to enable this research group or research organization to enable their work. In the case of care planning, if we are talking about care plan, then an example would be if it is within the health sector. If it's within the health sector, you understand? It is important that the stakeholder, which is the employer, is involved in the care planning that these people are doing. So it says teams in different ways, such as care planning. So in the care planning, these people have been taxed. So you need to involve, you need to give them what they need to do a care planning for the job role that you are giving to them. Probably you are not privy to the risk assessment of the kind of patients that you are giving to them. So they need to know and all that. Meetings and workshops, obviously, the stakeholders should be involved in arranging those meetings and workshops for these groups so you can brief them and know what is happening, and also to get feedbacks from them what you have tasked them to do. Policy making. Again, I didn't mention if it is about putting a group together within a country in looking at a certain constitution or certain policy that needs to be revised or redone again, the stakeholder has concern. He's a stakeholder in this policy making, so he has to be part of it. Sometimes they even assign somebody from the government to be part of the committee that they form. In that, those feedbacks from the policy making, those revise, it has to be a routine thing that needs to be done, a regular meeting that needs to be done, and therefore the stakeholder has a stake in the meeting. So it says the multi-disciplinary teams in the different ways, and areas such as policy, stakeholders are engaged. So there are regular engagement from the stakeholder. For instance, Vanessa, if you pay money to a lawyer to fight a case for you, you require the lawyer to be briefing you at every stage what has been done, what needs to be doing, or what you'll be changing along the line, a strategy and all that. So you are the stakeholder because you have given the money to the lawyer to fight the case for you. But the lawyer needs to be briefing you every now and then what has been done, what has been done and what cannot be done. You understand? You understand?
Yes, I understand.
And then lastly, it talks about evaluation, which summarizes everything. Evaluation of outcomes, very, very important. So in evaluation, what do? It is the stakeholder who has to be part to ensure that you do evaluation of what has been taxed. The final job of everything that you have to done, you have to submit it in. If you are doing your degree or your master's, you do a project work. The stakeholder of the project work is your university and your project supervisor, isn't it?
Yes.
Exactly. They are the stakeholders. They are the ones to ensure that you do things according to what research talks about, what the project talks about. So anything you do, you submit to your supervisor to put an input because a stakeholder to make sure you are doing the right thing. You say, no, Vanessa, this is wrong. Please, can you change this? Vanessa, can you do that and resubmit it again? Until they make sure that you have finally done the right thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Exactly. And then they'll finally do a final evaluation of what you have done and say, oh, Vanessa, I am pleased with your project work and now you can submit. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question?
No.
Okay, let's say there. So without any question, Vanessa, we're going to end today's lectures then, okay?
Yes. And I also had I wanted to ask you, could you kindly get back to me on WhatsApp? I had made an
Yes,
inquiry.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Quick, yes, I'll do that. Don't worry. Okay, I've seen it.
Okay.
I'll do
Thank
that.
you.
You're welcome. Placedia, I'm going to end the lectures, okay? All right. Thanks so much, Vanessa, for coming. Okay. All right then. Bye.